welcome back to LinkedIn Logs, the jobs podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the jobs podcast for the website, cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Welcome back in. We're on episode 79 of the show that talks about jobs. I'm your host. And it's a radio show. Call in 977-JOBS. 977-JOBS. We'll play your favorite job songs in about 20 minutes. But first, the markets. They're up. Or stagnated. I haven't watched CNBC today. That was fun. Welcome back in. We're on episode 79 of the show that talks about job stuff. What's been going on with me? Well, exactly 1 week ago yesterday, I crushed my phone with a barbell by accident. I had to use an iPad for 2.5 days as a way to communicate. I had to get a new phone. As you see, this one is on the website. It said gray. It looks like a light blue or a darkish blue. Anyway, I'm still with the Samsung family. I have the S25 Ultra now. I paid off the 23 Ultra, and I said, I'm not going to do anything until the 26 Ultra comes out. And then I cracked the screen, and then 2 weeks later, I crushed the phone. It's still turned on. I could plug it in to this monitor with this keyboard and this mouse and use Samsung DeX, which is one of the reasons why I continue to use the Samsung phone. There's several other, a handful of reasons. I often think, and I'll get to the job stuff in a second, I often think, if Samsung wasn't a competitor, would I just go to Google? Would I go back to Pixel, which I had Pixel phones before? But I moved over to Samsung because it was just a better product, even though it's a little bit bogged down with this One UI bullshit. One UI is Samsung's iOS on top of Google's Android. But it's also the most, I don't want to say malleable. It's the most customizable because I can do different things with it. I can do things. I can do very minute things. When I get home, it just does stuff. Yes, you can do that with other Android phones, and to some extent, you can do it with iPhones. But it's just so customizable. All right, let's get on with the job thing. Well, I got a call last week that my numbers for this website that I'm freelancing for, making $10 per post. No big deal. Again, no big deal. But my numbers were not good, even though I'm the only one posting to Big Brother stuff. I'm the only one posting to horror news. I'm posting real news. I'm posting real things, and my contract is not being renewed. And it's so interesting because I went out of my way to, quite frankly, write more than I had to. They asked for 400 words, and I would give them, especially for I wrote 10 Big Brother articles for 10 days straight. I wrote 9 for 9 days straight. Actually, I did not do the 10th one as a feature piece, but I did that, and each one was over 1,000 words. Some were 2. And then I go to, I use Photoshop. So I take images that just don't exist. I take images from Getty or whatever, or Key Art from these shows, and then I create images that don't exist. That's what Photoshop is for. I'm doing things differently. And then, you go to this website right now and you see somebody's written, this celebrity is eating pineapples now. Find out who after this. And I'm just thinking, like, what? And I understand that, this website is built for SEO. Unfortunately, that's all they wanted was just you write. They don't have any social channels, and then it was up to you to using SEO skills to promote the whatever you wrote. I totally understand that, but when you have somebody like me who has come from a real job, and I spent all last week, I'm not mad about it, but I spent all last week going, I'm better than everybody who's writing on this website. It's true. It's true. I'm not saying more is better, but the quality is better because I don't spend time writing in first person for a news story and stretching out 100 words into 500 words just to meet a quota. Doesn't make sense. Another reason why I say I'm better is they sent multiple emails to all of their contributors saying they need to source their photos. These people aren't even sourcing photos. We can't use screenshots. Fine. You can't. You can't. You have to find the photos on Getty or the Key Art or whatever. And hey, look, I come from that world. I understand. But these people that they're hiring aren't even sourcing photos. And they're writing about Love Island or The Bachelor. And they're writing, 50-word stories and linking to Instagram. Meanwhile, I'm over here reaching out via email, writing things and sourcing them. And yeah, so what? My articles about the history of Big Brother, or Big Brother around the world, or the what else have I written about? I don't know what bullshit I pitched so much stuff and I just did it. Let's see. I wrote about Parvati Shallow from Survivor, her new book. I wrote about. Let's see. I'm trying to find something. Also, they changed one of my headlines, and it really pisses me the fuck off. Let's see. And I also played the games. I wrote about Shonda Rhimes and Shondaland and how they celebrated 20 years of drama and TV character. I wrote about just entertainment news stuff. One of the articles that they changed, for the past couple of weeks, I would say, I'd say for the past month and a half, I've been doing every Friday, just as a way to boost my article count. Because again, they'll pay you $10 per post, but then they pay you if you meet a quota. If you meet one quota, and then if you meet another quota, and the second quota, I'll say it, is so stupid. It's so goddamn stupid. They want 79 articles, 80 articles. And then you get paid an extra $5 per article. And then you might say, "Oh, that's you. It's easy." No, it's not. Yep, that would mean you'd have to be writing. Secondly, people aren't even writing 80 articles per week. There's not even a total of people writing 80 articles per week. But you'd have to be writing an insane amount, and it have to be worthy of putting on the website. Because what I have found out is that they delete things. Also, it can't be too sad. They don't write about death. They write about people who have passed and people who are being celebrated after they've passed. But anyway, I've been writing a music thing and a TV and movie thing every week. Just music. Here's new music out. I listen to the thing. I listen to the albums and the records. This is what you should be paying attention to. Whatever. I just pick and choose stuff. And on the week of July 4th, I pre-wrote mine because there wasn't going to be anything coming out on July 4th, which was a Friday, with the exception of Kesha's Period, as well as the Jurassic World Rebirth soundtrack. After seeing F1 and listening to that soundtrack, I just, come on. That any soundtrack can be good. And I wrote, and usually I try to keep what is in, like, for one article, the like whatever is in the thing. I'm just teasing it. President John Cena, Immortal Charlize Theron, and dinosaurs. What to watch this July 4th weekend? Boom, great. For the Kesha Jurassic World one, I wrote something along the lines of Kesha's new. This is not it, but like Kesha returns with new album, and Jurassic World, soundtrack. I write the thing, I put it out, on Friday. It releases on Friday. I don't pay attention to my email until Monday. Monday I check. And I have no message sent to me, but I check to see if everything is posted, like Saturday. I check to make sure things that were scheduled for Friday have posted, and I check, and the title had been changed to Kesha Makes Mega Drop. I would never, in my entire life, write some shit like that. I don't write like that. In fact, some of the Big Brother things that I wrote about in my 9-day journey, I wasn't even a fan of writing like that. Most bitter Big Brother juries of all time. I'm not a fan of doing that, but at least that is more directed than Kesha Makes Mega Drop. Jesus Christ. The idea that these people that they hire can't even go and type in the source on their pictures, and they're able to be kept. And then I'm writing something. I do a recap of The Bear before season 4, or I write a story about Library of Congress honors Broadway icon, and I have a picture of him with Obama. Oh my God, that's fucking insane. Yesterday, I saw that I knew this was going to be a big story. So yesterday, I knew that the Emmy nominations were coming out. I forgot where the camera was. The Emmy nominations were coming out at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. I was cycling. I was on the bike doing a Power Zone endurance class. Christian Van Velde, Peloton. He's one of the best. But I was doing the class, and I knew that CBS Mornings was going to get 2 of those nominations to announcements at like 8:30. So I watched, and also since I've gotten this new phone, I've really been picking and choosing what gets access. I had to delete some apps that I just knew I wasn't going to open again. I changed up folders and everything, but also in my email, I reverted back to, since I knew, since I got the phone, I knew my contract was not going to get renewed. I just didn't attach the work email, the heavy email. Oh shit, I shouldn't have said the company. I don't give a fuck. The heavy email to my to my Gmail account anymore. So I figured, okay, someone's going to get these Emmy nomination stories, and then I take a shower, I eat, I take a shower, I take Maverick to the dog park, which really stunk because they were doing cutting the grass, so we couldn't go in. But we come back home, and I sit down at the computer, and then I open up my email, I open up C Plus Comedy's email, and then I open up the heavy email. I should really stop saying the name of the company. I don't care. I don't. Go to my muck rack. You can see everything I've written. And not a single person. In fact, they're talking about, some inane bullshit. Not a single person on any thread has said, I'm going to get the Emmy nominations. And at this point it's like 10:30, and I'm going, all right, well, I don't feel like doing the Emmy nominations because I did the Tonys, I did the daytime Emmys, and those did not really get traction. 11:30 hits, no one has said anything. And then the Emmys are they're done announcing the nominations by like noon. And again, no one has said anything. And I go, I guess I'll take the Emmys. I head over to the Television Academy website, and they've thankfully provided a wonderful press kit with, the first timers, nominations by network, but they didn't give all the total numbers and everything. So I had to do some counting. And a lot of it's miscounted. And then they have the nomination. So I decided, and a lot of other stuff. So I decided, hey, I'm going to write 3 articles and then be done by 1:30. And that's what I did. I wrote 3 giant articles. Guess which one was the only one that did well with the nominations list. So I was just like, well, that's what happens. And I'm the only person who said anything about this. It's fucking ridiculous. All right, moving on. I sent my resume to my mother, who reached out to somebody she knows who does resume refinement. We are in a world where it is where people are saying it's wrong to use AI to do anything, and then when you ask them to when you talk to these people, when you reach out and they offer to help or whatever, they send you back a bunch of AI mess. Now I say that because when my mother emailed me, first of all, it was out of the blue. She said, this is your resume, try using this. And I went, all right. I looked at it and I wasn't I truly was just going to pass it off and be like, fine, whatever. But I started reading it over. I'm looking for my mom's email. Let's see. I started looking it over, and just so much of it was not finished. My LinkedIn, the person who did this, provided a link to my LinkedIn on there, and the link's not on there. It just says linkedin.com/in/ and then that's it. My email has the wrong uppercase. They call me a media professional, which is not what the fuck I am. I'm a TV producer. I have credits. I'm a TV producer. I'm not a media professional. What the fuck is that? For the core competencies, which is something I would never fucking use. And I'm sorry, I'm cursing a lot. There's just a lot of mess. Social media content management, Instagram, Meta, X, TikTok. I deleted all that. I just said social media management or something like that. Hold on, let me pull up what I said. Let me do a comparison. I said social media management. I changed my title to producer. And also, I like to have my middle initial on there. I like saying Chad C. White. I don't like saying just Chad White. I added my LinkedIn on there. Let's see. Before I get to the description, I would like to continue on downward. In the education part, I'm 11 years out from graduating from college. I don't understand why any of this shit is on there. Sure, the college can be on there, but first of all, that is not my major, nor is that my minor. It's wrong. And then also including stuff like an internship is so, again, I'm 10 to 11 years out. What year? 2012. I'm 10 years out. We don't need that. Let's see. I don't. The thing is, I previously changed my resume to not include a lot of stuff that's on here. I understand that you know for a lot of this you have to have your what is it called, descriptions for jobs and everything, but the person just kind of copied and pasted what I'd written down for other resume versions. I don't know. I guess my mom sent them a second resume version that I'd previously sent her. And it's just wrong. It's just wrong. I haven't even looked at the C+ comedy stuff because I was just so irritated at, okay, so that's the name. A lot of this stuff is just misspelled or not include, the entire names aren't included. All right. So then you go up to the profile section and there's just a lot of misspellings and descriptions and run-on sentences and use of the word content, a word that I would never in my life use in a job or in a personal conversation. And it's just wrong. It's just wrong, and I'm looking at both versions, and I'm frustrated at that situation. But if this is the shit that's going to work, but my mom also included me in the email to the person. However, yeah, and this person, if this person does this for a living, she works at the same company. If this is the person that does this for a living, she should go. She's really fucking double check that shit. All right, let's move on. This is going to be a long episode. My goodness. I could dance through it. This comes from the Hollywood Reporter, written by Katie Kilkenny. SAG-AFTRA video game strike officially over as members ratify agreement. This happened last week, but SAG-AFTRA, after an 11-month strike, is finally done with this video game strike. They brought it to an end last Wednesday as members voted overwhelmingly to ratify a labor agreement with major interactive companies, which collectively are behind franchises like Call of Duty and Marvel's Spider-Man. More than 95% of voting members supported the deal reached in early June, while less than 5% voiced their opposition, SAG-AFTRA announced on Wednesday. The union strike began in July of 2024 and stretched on until June of 2025, when negotiators reached a tentative deal and SAG-AFTRA subsequently suspended the work stoppage. The agreement, whose predecessor originally expired in November 2022, took an unusually long time, 3 years to hammer it out. There's the reason I can only guess as to why the strike didn't really happen until last year, as opposed to November 2022, is just because people were in the midst of recording and we're 2 years out of a pandemic and they couldn't afford to strike. Now everybody can actually go back to performing, and they're going to enjoy meaningful gains such as AI protections, which is wonderful. Again, the video game, I would say video game performers are probably some of the most mistreated, and or underpaid when it comes to the entertainment media. In terms of performers, they're probably with Broadway stars who aren't stars, Broadway people who aren't stars, and who else would not be paid very well? Musicians on touring their first record, because you're in the industry, but you're not in it. During the strike, performance capture and voice actors ceased working for household names like Activision, Electronic Arts, Insomniac Games. Disney character voices for Mosa Interactive, WB Games, Take-Two Productions, Blind Light, and Llama Productions were also subject to the labor action, in the same way that people had to stop acting for, the movie studios or TV and television studios when actors were on strike. Now, again, this strike was to stop performers from being exploited, i.e. not being paid well and being used like tools, and then to stop them from being undercut by AI. They reached an agreement, both sides, on 24 out of 25 proposals when SAG-AFTRA decided to walk away from the table on July 2024, with AI providing the breaking point. The deal offers lengthy terms aimed at requiring companies to gain consent from union performers before creating digital replicas of their image or voice and compensating those actors for the time expended to create them. During a strike, the agreement allows members to pause their consent. Wow. So that means if there's another strike in 3 years, then the actors, if they still want to get paid, they can say, hey, you're making Horizon Forbidden East, Forbidden South, and I'll allow you to use my image and likeness to do the work that you need to do. But I doubt that will happen. But you still get paid. I mean, that's the odds and ends of it. Financially, the agreement provides a sweetener for ratification, with all wages immediately being raised 15.17% upon union members approving the deal. The contract then offers wage increases of 3% for each year of the contract. The contract additionally institutes 5-minute rest periods for performers in front of the camera after each hour of work, and raises. They didn't have rest periods? Jesus Christ. 5 minutes. That's for like performance capture. For if I'm thinking of, let's go back to Insomniac games, the Spider-Man game or the Infamous games. They would put on these suits, and then they put on little dots all over their face and everything, and cameras in front of their face for motion capture, and it'll capture all their facial tics and everything when they're acting and delivering lines as these characters and their movements. And they would. It's taxing work. It's acting on top of, keeping in mind that, people are going to be playing this character. So I don't know. It's crazy, man. But the idea that they didn't get breaks, you should get a break every hour. That's insane. They shouldn't be like, hey, we're going to get 5 minutes. Anyway. And raises employers' health and retirement contribution rates from 16.5 to 17.5% by October 2026. I'm more interested in the immediate pay rate wage raises, because that's happened in pretty much every single new ratified contract for the past year that has been finally ratified. Which is great. But these video game companies, Activision, Microsoft, Sony is not, people, if something happens at Microsoft, people are like, this is what happens. They're going to be dead in 2 years. And then Sony does the same thing, and people are like, they're the leader. They're doing a good job. This is video games coverage is just so piss poor. And I've yet to find somebody who does it well, a company that does it well consistently. But these companies, and Nintendo, they all make so much money. Call of Duty is the biggest game in the world. FIFA is huge. Pokemon is giant. Horizon is big. Astrobot World, all these games. Donkey Kong Bonanza is going to be giant for Nintendo Switch 2. And yet these companies don't want to relinquish funds, high-paying funds, to the people that make their games, whether they're ones who actually make it, the programmers, the testers, all that stuff, the producers, the directors, and even still those directors and the high-ranking producers will be making a lot of money. Or if they're the actors, the voice actors, the background artists doing the things, it's providing additional voices, the musicians, all that stuff, designers. It's crazy. Everybody should be paid. It shouldn't. You're already milking gamers for now $80 games, And if Grand Theft Auto comes out, GTA 6 comes out next year at $100, then there's no excuse as to why you should not be paying people well. Moving on. This final piece comes from Associated Press, written by Cheyenne Mumphrey and Lindley Sanders. I thought it was a really interesting headline, and so we'll follow up with it. But most teens, and girls especially, see college as key to jobs and life skills, AP NORC poll says. Now, this they follow some teens in Phoenix, Arizona for this piece, but it was a very interesting thing nonetheless. Overall, about 6 in 1 teens say it's extremely or very important to them to graduate from college, according to the survey from the Associated Press NORC Center for Public Affairs Research, which was conducted this spring among teenagers between the ages of 13 and 17. That compares to about 4 in 10 adults who said the same in a Chicago Harris AP NORC poll from 2022. The survey also found that many teens think it will be harder for them to achieve major life milestones like owning a home, raising a family, or reaching a good standard of living than it was for their parents. The 6 in 10 is important because, again, if you look back at that Chicago Harris poll from 2022, it was just 4 in 10. We're at a point where people we were at a point where people were saying, why go to college? Why pay for an extra set of school, extra couple years of school, and when you have to pay all that money back? Well, it's because it opens up a wealth of opportunity for you. Now, you don't have to go to Princeton. You don't have to go to University of Tennessee, Chattanooga. You don't have to go to UGA. But it is important, I view, and I think a lot of people would agree with me, especially these six out of these 10 teens. Some pretty cool fucking teens. but it's so stupid. But it is important to get a continuing education, because it will, again, open up doors for jobs. If you go to a trade school and you take 6 months of plumber or electrician courses, that will help you become a plumber or electrician. And then you'll be making a boatload of money, because you can go and utilize those skills anywhere. The same thing that goes for, I'm sure you don't go to school for construction, but that goes for construction. And then maybe, hey, I can't afford to go and be an architect right now, but a lot of companies, even though that they are having their issues now, but a lot of companies such as Starbucks will pay for ongoing education. I believe Walmart does the same thing as well, as long as you're employed with them. It is, we can't. I think it would be great. I think it would be wonderful to be able to graduate from high school and then go work a couple of jobs as you should. You should be when you're in your early 20s, you should be messing around, making mistakes. You should not have everything figured out. And that's the problem with people in the South. They get married at 20, 21, they have children at 21, 22, and now you're just like, you've been married for 10 years when you're 32 years old. That's insane to me. I don't get it. And I know so many people like that. Anyway, but you should go and get those experiences, do some blue collar work. That should be, how like in South Korea, actually probably in Asian provinces, how, but they have to go serve in their military for 5 years. We should do that, but for jobs. You should work in service industry. You should work in retail. You should have to be forced to do so many of those shitty jobs. And then only then you can, like, after 5 years or however long, go apply and be a business person or do whatever bullshit that you want. Because so many people just don't understand what it takes to work in those positions, because they've never worked in those. But anyway, it's important to know some stuff after the fact, even if it comes later in those 20s, because yes, school is expensive, and it shouldn't cost an arm and a leg and a kidney and a heart and the brain. In order, you need at least 2 of those to continue school, but it should not cost that much. And yet here we are at a point where it does. So now we have to think around that. We have to think, hey, I can't afford $50,000 to go to the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. I can afford to pay that back. Do I whore myself out? Do I sell drugs? I don't know. If I could sell, I'm telling you right now, I got put it on mic. If I could sell drugs, I'd do it. I would sell cocaine to the whitest of white boys, and like the dirtiest, cheap cocaine. But I would charge them so much money. If I could, I would do it. But only to white men. Because if I'm ruining anyone's lives, it's going to be theirs. But I said it. Yeah, but it's so we have to think around, and I think things like trade school or working for companies that are willing to foot the bill for you to go to school. I mean, hell, even the military, they'll pay for, I believe so. They'll pay for school after the fact, but it's when you're young, you don't know any better. If Chad at 22 just had access to anything in here, he would screw it up. And he had to maintain anything in here. He would screw it up. He wouldn't know how to take care of the dog. He wouldn't know how to switch profiles on the iPad to record a very bad podcast. He wouldn't know how to run C+ Comedy, even though he was 2 years in at that point, 2 or 3 years in, three or four. something like that. Yeah. 2, 3. Did I say 10 years? How old am I? But anyway, I thought it was a very important piece because they, provided a few numbers that you don't see, and as well as a profile of a 17-year-old who's going to be graduating from high school within the next year or two, and as she talks about college and everything, and the worries that surround it, her and paying for it. Okay, that was a long one. Listen, if you like what you heard here, head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where you can see me talk to famous people sometimes. If you want to watch a video version of those conversations, go to youtube.com/cpluscomedy, where you can also watch a video version of this show, as well as video versions of the other podcasts, Late Night Lately, the Late Night Show, as well as the Constitutionals, the Entertainment Business News Show, the premiere show for this website, and follow us on social media at C Plus Comedy on TikTok, Instagram, and Blue Sky. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.